best.
I think I might create my own quote here.
I think I butchered
yeah,
that one.
let's
Apologies to
let's see, I
whoever
got
that.
someone in my head. The foolish man thinks that he knows it all. The smart man thinks of himself to be a fool.
Yeah, that's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conquer podcast. How are we today?
Feeling good.
Feeling very good.
I'm actually laughing a little bit. I'm crying.
Chris is quite caffeinated over there.
Yeah, I'm actually, that made me laugh. I'm actually crying from laughter. So, yeah, I'm caffeinated. Had way
Caffeinated
too many
to the
coffees
gills.
today.
Ready to rumble. We've got a fascinating topic to discuss here, Bronze. It's something that you brought up yesterday, right? Like we were just chilling and you said, this is something that I'm dealing with right now. We were like, well, let's talk about it live on air for everyone to know.
Talk about our feelings.
It's my favourite
Everyone,
topic.
this is a safe place.
Look, I need more girlfriends, okay? You guys are right. So today we are talking about, we're talking about mindset. And I know that this has been done 100 times. And it is so important. Like the quote that your business only grows to the extent that you grow yourself is 100% true. Like that's something that you really need to think about, okay? If you want $1 million business and you do not have $1 million business today is because what's happening in between your head and the actions that you're taking.
Yeah.
However, what Eric said, and I was thinking about it yesterday, is that I've always, every time I buy a book, every time I download something on Audible, it is always like business mindset, business. It's always, I don't listen to anything else. And just recently...
Except that Game of Thorns book that you always read.
Yeah, come on, that's the light of the audience here.
It is the thorn of...
You brought two back to Bali with you, didn't you?
Can't get that book away from
We always
you.
have to pay for extra luggage.
I started actually listening to it again on...
Should probably include that
Spotify
it's
now.
all business, all entrepreneurship, except that weird one book that I see all these Instagram reels about
It's
that you
a
always...
fantasy.
Pretty sure it's soft
It is
porn.
the-
Isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, it's soft porn. I see reels about it all the time on Instagram. I'm like, what is with this? I'm like, that's the one my sister reads. I'm just a bit concerned.
God forbid a girl just wants to chill, okay? So that is exactly the point. So I've moved from like always like business mindset, all of these things to more just things that I enjoy. And it's only been within I started reading these books within the last year, let's say. But just recently, that's all I'm reading and listening. It's just nothing to do with personal development, nothing to do with business. It's just like chill time. And like, I guess what the revelation that I've come to was like, there's only so much that you can read and listen and learn. And then it eventually gets to a point where you're just procrastinating.
Yeah.
If you're not taking action on what you're feeding your mind, then you're just like, you're kind of like, oh, all of this like knowledge. It's like we'd say analysis paralysis. It is that. It's like you get all this information, but like go and actually do something.
It's almost it's too much. And you have all of this information to the point where you're like, now I've got like, Rich Dad Poor Dad, spirituality, this mindset here, and then all together, and you're like, but fuck, what do I actually do? It becomes a scrambled egg scenario in your own noggin. If
If you're just learning all the time and not implementing, are you really actually maintaining any of that knowledge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to go in, you're going to, oh, that was a great book. Next book, oh, that was a great book. And then you forgot about the last one.
Look, like I've read I don't know by now, I haven't read a proper back-to-back book in maybe a year, and even then, like I would read one maybe on a plane or listen to an audiobook these days, but like in the last 3 years I've fully listened to or read maybe 3 books. Whereas the time before that I used to be like, I used to count. I remember I used to like stack them on top of each other as I thought it was like look how many books I've read. But if I honestly look back at those books and think and like extrapolate lessons from each one, there's like 2 books that I actually learned something from. Like maybe more, maybe like 5. But like my point is that most of it, I was just thought I was like doing something when I could have actually been working on the damn thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this ego play. Like, well, I've read so many books and I'm so educated. But it's like, yeah, bro, but you've made no money.
It's good. Yeah, it's good when it like plants
There's
a
no
seed.
results.
Yeah, it's good when it plants a seed that when then creates you to do work in a different way that you then continue on. But if you're just reading for the sake of reading and never actually doing anything with it, you're wasting time.
It's great. Like if you're new to like any world, like if new to business, new to entrepreneurship, and you're like, or new to Amazon, like you literally don't know anything about it. Obviously you need to learn about it, and it opens your mind to all these possibilities, and that's extremely important. But then it's like, okay, open your mind, and then if you want to, then the next step is to take action, and then you'll hit it again. Okay, I've taken action. I don't know what the next step is because the knowledge that I have that's where it stops. I need to gain more knowledge, and then you go again. So it's like knowledge, action, knowledge, action. Like you need to, whereas often people are just like, oh, I've read this many books. I must, like, I used to feel guilty if I went for a walk and I wasn't learning something. And then I would be always like in this masculine energy, always like, just like almost get overwhelmed.
David Goggins in your stay hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. But I used to, and now I'm just like, when I'm like listening to my fantasy books, it's just like, it's nothing to do with business, because when it comes to business, that's when I want to actually be doing, and I don't want to get to the action of like when I'm actually doing a task and feel already almost burnt out because I've already been in this like masculine energy in my head without actually doing anything.
There was a saying, I'm going to probably absolutely butcher this, but it's like the person who thinks he knows the most actually knows the least or something, because like you're not, if you think you've got all this information, you're reading all the time, you're less open to like try things and ask questions because you think you know it all.
Yeah.
So if you're too busy only learning and not actually being like, being like a child and asking questions, how does that work? Or how does this work? Or what system's that? Or then you might not even pick it up and you only take off what you think is best.
I think I might create my own quote here.
I think I butchered that one.
Let's
Apologies
see.
to whoever
I got
that.
someone in my head. The foolish man thinks that he knows it all. The smart man thinks of himself to be a fool.
Yeah, that's great. That's pretty much the quote I was trying to say, but in a
it
was similar to that. Yeah, that's good. I like that one. It's true.
That's
true, because that's
now
how you
that
learn.
may be an existing quote.
Yeah. The one I heard was something similar, but I just butchered it. But yeah, 100%, and it's so true. And a lot of people, I think, this day and age they have a little bit of like lacking confidence to ask questions, and they think they have to learn it all themselves. When I feel like, for me, I've learnt the most off other people and then putting into practice and doing things.
I'm petrified of asking questions. Since school, I thought I had to know everything already. And to ask a question, no question is dumb. I'm like, I thought every question was dumb. Like I was petrified of asking questions when I was at school, because I
feel like that's how I got ahead in the game. I'm the opposite. I never thought I was that smart,
like,
so I had to get ahead and I had
to
like bound onto other people that would give me knowledge that I could grow.
I'm a little bit of a mixture. I ask questions when I want to know something, but I don't ask too many questions. And what I do is, and I do this a lot, is if I'm in a table with a lot of smart people, I don't talk a lot. I don't ask a lot of questions either. I'll listen a lot. But what I'll also do is, if a question pops up that's in my mind, I don't sometimes want to break conversation. I'll go home and just find it out myself though.
Yeah.
Like I'll still remember. I'll take things away without being too engaged in conversations, and I'll just be in my own time, be like, just geek out. And it may seem in that moment that I'm not interested, but I just like absorb stuff and then go and do it by myself. I've always kind of been like that.
It's better than people that just act like they know something and then you end up going home and Googling it and it's like, they had no idea what they were talking about. They were just trying to jump in the conversation.
Yeah.
You're like,
and sometimes, like, it happens sometimes where there is ego attached when you get to a certain level. Like I've definitely been in rooms where I think that I have to know it all, and I can kind of like pretend like I know it all. And again, it's like, never know it all. You can learn from someone who's just fucking starting. If they can just say
Definitely.
one thing that's just like, oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think the goal is always you never want to be the smartest person in the room, because if you're the smartest person in the room, that means that you're like limiting your capacity to grow higher. Like, as you said, you want to be in the conversations where everyone is spitting so much knowledge, you're like, oh my God, and that you're absorbing it.
That being said, I think you got to find a balance too. I agree with that, but I also think that you can't always live in this perpetual cycle of always being at the bottom in the room.
Yeah,
you also need to put yourself, it's like when you're boxing, you want to fight fighters that are better than you so you can learn from them, but you also want to fight fighters that you're better than, so then you can get your confidence up and you can then apply some of the stuff you learned from the better boxer against the boxer that's not as good as you.
Yeah.
So it's like you always kind of actually want to be in the middle. You want to have people that you can lead and you can be better than, but then you also want to have people that are further ahead than you that can drag you, push you forward, and that you can learn from and ask questions to.
Yeah.
And if you take a back seat and then you don't show your worth, then maybe people don't approach you who are at your level or who might be higher than you, or you know what I mean? Like you want
to give value.
You want to give value so people know that you're that person they want to speak to as well.
Oh, that's such a good point. And like and this is now bringing me towards networking. I am an anti-networker. I hate networking. I hate networking events. I just think it's just a bunch of like circle jerking, basically. I really do. And what I've learned is that once you have a level of success, that you don't really need to network. People come to you. That's the best way to network. When you have nothing to offer and you're just like, but I just want to network and I just want to talk and have fun and yeah, cool. Then you go home and again, you've made no money, you didn't do anything. You're better off staying at home, not going to the networking event, working, getting some fucking runs on the board, having a skill set, having a business, having success. And then when you do go places and you say that, people then listen to you. People want to know from you. And in fact, and then better yet, if you post some of this stuff online, which has been a game changer for me in my life, is people just come to you. Yeah. And you build a reputation. And it's like it's the opposite of networking where it's like you need people. I hate that feeling of needing people or wanting something from someone. Yeah. I hate that. It makes me feel sick. I want to be the best that I can be, and then people come to me.
Yeah, it winds back to the whole thing of like learning on this information but having no runs on the board. If you've got no runs on the board, like you're just spitting information you've been told, but you don't have the proof of doing it, and you can't really show that you are the top G.
Yeah, it's like
the top G.
It's like having the conversation. It's there's a quote around this as well, but it's like you always, when you're trying something new, whether it be business or like a new sport or anything in life, people love giving advice. And then you're like, where does this advice come from?
It's like you're only people giving you health advice. And you're like, you're like, what's going on?
I like the quote of like, if you wouldn't take advice from someone that you wouldn't want to trade spots with.
Yeah, that's a great.
Like that's if they're in a position, like say it's a business position, financial position that I want to be at, they can give me advice all day long. Yeah. However, if you're someone who is not in my ideal scenario, not where I want to be, I'm not going to, we can have a conversation, but please don't give me advice. I want advice from people in the arena, not people who are just in, the audience members.
Yeah.
And I think that's
100%. 100%.
And that comes down to, I guess, friendship groups and who you surround yourself with as well, because you want some people in your pocket, not in your side of the court, in your corner that give you the good advice that you relate to and you want to hear it. You don't want those people just giving you like crap advice.
Yeah. So I guess like to summarize the conversation thus far is like you obviously you need to do personal development, you need to learn, you need to read books, but it gets to a certain level and you can feel it when you're just like, I should just be working and not listening to another David Goggins, whatever, like rant.
Yeah.
I should just be working and not listening to another book on meditation and being still. Meditation and being still is an awesome tool to have on your tool belt, but it ain't going to make you rich. Yeah. You have to sit down, you have to, on your laptop, put some headphones in, set a timer for an hour, put your phone into a drawer or somewhere else, and just work. You have to do that. You cannot replace the work. And the work is what makes the money.
What's stopping people from doing this? Because obviously, I guess listening to a podcast, watching a YouTube video, reading another book is easy.
I'll tell you.
What's stopping people from doing this?
Right now, there is a massive, massive problem in society as a whole. And that problem is something called dopamine addiction. Everyone's addicted to feeling so good because we have it in our pockets, at any moment. When like you in your mind, you're like, I should call my mum. You grab your phone, you go to call your mum, and then you're like, what the fuck? Why am I scrolling Instagram Reels?
Yeah.
You like
100%.
It's constructed. It's constructed to distract you. So it's like they say, like it's never been easier to make money online because of the opportunity, but it's also never been easy to be distracted.
Yeah.
So if you can withstand distraction and that dopamine, and let me tell you, it's fucking hard. I struggle with this. We all do. Oh, Chris, you're amazing at this.
But Chris,
you're different. You just like don't give a fuck, but you don't.
Let's see AFL's on. I'm like, I might watch some AFL.
But then you don't know how to post an Instagram story. Then you're like, hey guys, how do I press the post button?
But what's the exactly. What's the opposite of that though? And what we're talking about is doing hard work and potentially failing and fear of failure and they're like, okay, well that's kind of hard, but this is so easy to do. I can just learn why it's so easy.
People want it straight away.
It feels so good.
So goodness versus fear, that's the two difference.
So exactly right. It's like, why am I going to do this thing that's hard and it's risk and it's stressful when I can feel so good on Instagram Reels?
Good and comfortable in my room
funny,
and just
funny.
But
this is something that I've implemented recently that's worked really well for me. So I'll after I do my morning blah 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 routine, I used to have coffee, I don't anymore. But what I'll do is I'll go to a cafe or I'll be at home and I'll set a timer on my phone, 60 minutes. Mm-hmm. And in that 60 minutes, I'm not allowed to go on my phone. I'm not allowed to do anything other than the most important work that I can do. And I'll do that first thing in the morning just to get it done. And I've done that for months on end at times. And that for me, at least I have that tick where I did that deep, undistracted work. It's easy to do. You just literally say, I'm not going to do anything else other than work for these 60 minutes on this timer. If I do before, well, then you're just not fucking made for it. It's simple. Your self-image crumbles, and then you don't view yourself as a person you want to be, and then you just won't be successful. It's that simple. It also comes down to desire and how badly you want to be successful.
I've been doing something similar, and I want Ron to share what you've been doing as well. Like I don't, like you said, I don't have a massive problem with this, but what I've been doing now is in my morning, there's like a 10-minute window where I'm just like chilling and the spa or whatever, and I'll just look at my Instagram and see like what messages I've got like that, and then that's my 10-minute in the morning, and that's done. It only takes me 10 minutes, and I'm done till the afternoon. But I know you've got a certain tactic and you've been using, which has been working really well for you for your screen time and Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I do spend a lot of time on my phone, and it is because I should be posting. So in terms of my work, it requires me to be on social media. However, in recent times, I haven't been posting, and I've just been rotting my brain.
And when you say your work, you mean specifically in like, promoting our program? It's not Prodigy X
yeah,
work.
it's not Amazon
Well, both
related.
Prodigy X and promoting the program.
I do the Prodigy X Instagram. It's easy.
So
it doesn't take
in terms of when it comes to talking to influencers, Prodigy X, I do that on my laptop, and like that's fine. However, if you follow me on Instagram, posting reels or stories and things like that, I'm supposed to be, my goal is to be a person that shows up every day, shows the opportunity of what Amazon FBA is and what you can do. And what I have found is like that procrastination, it comes in, and I know there's a whole lot of reasons. There's like, fear of judgment, this and that. What if I actually do thrive in this? Like there's plenty of things that's happening in their head, and I'm completely aware of it. But something that I started, it's been 6 weeks now. It was an app. I've actually just turned it off yesterday because now the goal has shifted. But initially, the app is called Opal, and it just locks everything. So you
choose the times, right?
I can choose, but I actually just let them do the default. So I chose all the social media apps, and it's like between 9 and 5 weekdays that those apps are locked. So if I go on there, it gives me like...
Is that the one, do you scan the QR code? There's another one I've seen, it's called Block. I get ads for. I think there's a QR code, you scan it and it locks all your shit up.
Oh, it's probably that, like there's probably heaps of them.
Because you used to use the phone limiting screen. That didn't work, so you'd be like, give me another 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'd be like 15 minutes. Whereas this one, like, it locks it, and if
scores you as well,
if I click on it, it will give me a quote of like not wasting my life. The ads were actually really great. It just really got me. Like I was the avatar for this ad because it was like, why are you wasting your life when you could be doing this and this? But social media is taking your life away and all this stuff. I was like, oh.
It even tells you like how much of your life you've...
Look, it made me feel sick. So it said at the beginning when I put all my data in, and as I said, like I know I work on my phone, but it's like, but if you lived an average life, you would have spent 32 years looking at your phone.
Yeah, which is like,
that made me
your
feel
age
sick.
now.
I am 32 years. Imagine that's
Wait,
what
do
it
you
said.
mean if you, what is it?
So
How?
with
Continue
like,
the
so
screen time now.
I was spending like 7 hours on my phone. Like that was like the amount of times my phone screen was out.
Live to 100, you've spent 32 years of your
just
life on your phone.
That made me sick. Like that really...
It's an interesting one to check, everyone. To have a look after and see what your screen time is.
But like
shout out to the app as well.
then,
Like,
and I get reports.
Cool
Since then, like I get like I spend 12% of my day, so that's like an hour and a half. But it's different as business and things like that. Yeah. So I've just turned it off. So I did 6 weeks of that, and that really helped. Like it really because I was always default. Every time I got to a task and it was difficult, I'd be like, oh, just quit phone. Like that was my like. Yeah. I was feeling obviously uncomfortable with the task at hand, and I needed a boost. I needed that good hormones like going through my brain, and I was like, I want to go on my phone. So that was a habit that I needed to break. Yeah. So now I need to be posting. I need to be on social media without having the block there and like feeling guilty that my report card this is like school coming into is going to be like affected and things like that. So now I've turned it off. And now we'll be like, okay, hopefully I've broken the habit of always picking up my phone every time a task becomes difficult and move forward from there. Yeah. That was my story.
No, it's good. It's good. I think it's important because like I'm sure a lot of people who are listening and watching there may have issues with like going on the screen and getting stuck. And Eric made a good point earlier. It's like how you whip out your phone to like go call someone, and 15 minutes later you realize you've just been on social media.
It's
You're like, I
crazy.
haven't even called the person yet.
Yeah, and
or you call them,
these-
they don't answer, and then you're like, oh, what's on social media? Like,
these apps, you know, are made to be as sticky as humanly possible. They're paying psychologists millions of dollars to make sure that you get stuck in these apps, and that's how they make money, because then you see more ads, they make more impressions. You know, it's unfortunately the way it is. But to the main point that we were talking about, like, again, it's never been so easy to be successful and make money than it is now. It is the golden era with Amazon, with AI, with the internet, with the resources available. It is the golden era, but it's equally never been as easy to be distracted.
Yeah.
So he or she who can work without being distracted and just do that stuff will win.
yeah, I was listening to a podcast recently, and the guy was just talking. The basics of it was like the man who continues to put out the man or female that continues to put out the effort, continues to put out that effort and push past these distractions is the one who's going to win in the long run, because
100%.
the consistent, because people might be just as smart as you, or they might have just the same skill set, or even more, but they get distracted so easily. So if you can push past those people, you'll raise yourself above the rest, and you'll end up being on top. And it's just hard to get through those barriers. But if you do it,
it's hard.
and get there and stay there, then you're going to achieve so much.
Yeah, and that's what like Dana White says. Like, it's also like everyone you're competing with these days. Like, there's a bunch of pussies. Most people are pussy these days because like they don't have like the grit, and they succumb to the distractions.
Yeah.
If you can just be that one, you know, get that dog in you, then that's it. That's
how
what
you
it,
win
that's
these
that's how
days.
you win these days. You just have to have that grit and be like, well, everyone else would do that, get distracted. I'm not gonna.
Especially with like technology and all the things happening right now, don't have to have the biggest skill set anymore. You can leverage all these other skill sets. You just need to have the energy and work ethic, and like you said, that dog in you to use everything that you have and push through everyone else.
Yeah, and if you're scared, like if you're, like I understand that starting a business, starting something new, especially if people around you, like, why would you do that? If that's like your plan B, so say your plan B, plan A is your 9 to 5, you're currently there. Plan B is like, oh, I'm going to start a business and do this. If you go and start a business and for some reason it doesn't go, or you hit a challenge and you're like, no, it's not for me, you can always go back to 9 to 5. But the thing for us is like this what we've created, this is our plan A. If
there was never a plan B. It doesn't even cross my
like,
fucking mind. It does not exist. It was like, I'm making it or I die.
I don't know what else would do.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There is no dimensional reality that this doesn't exist for us, because there was never a plan B. I never, ever, didn't even cross my mind.
The day I left plumbing, I said, I'm never going back. I was like, I'm never going back, and we never have.
It's all in.
It's like,
and when you are all in, then you will put those distractions to the side, because then you realize like, oh shit, my back's against the wall here, going to make this work.
And if things go up, you get ups and downs, but you push and make things work, and you figure it out. And that's literally where like the growth happens. We talked about growth. That's how growth happens, by figuring shit out.
Facts, overcoming challenges.
Hey,
And to, I guess, just to summarize, like we started, like, you know, do personal development, read the books, but don't do it to procrastinate, you know. And then you got to do the work, and then you got to make sure that you don't get distracted when you're doing the work. Implement all of those things. Start a business like Amazon Australia, and you will win. It's actually pretty simple when you just actually extrapolate it back that way.
Even take it one step further, like read a book, maybe write down the key points for it, and then work on those key points for the next 2 months before you read the next book.
Yeah.
Like just work on that until you know, and then it will be ingrained into you. Otherwise, you'll forget about them.
I like what you just said to finish up, Edik, is like, it's like every whatever path you choose, like to starting a business, whether that's Amazon FBA, if you just think about what you need to do, it's very simple. The thing that makes it very crowded and very complicated is all the shit that's going around in your head.
External noise as well.
Yeah, but if you look at the path is very simple, not easy. There'll be challenges. It's new. You're going to be shit to begin with. Like, these are all, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. But if you want to create an epic life, like, you got to tell everything else to shut up and be like, this is the path I'm going to take. If you just look at 1 step ahead instead of 10 steps ahead, just got to go.
Got to go, got to do it. And I think that's a perfect way to end this episode.
Great way to wrap it up. We'll see you guys all in the next one.
See you in the next one.
See you later.
Peace.